Hello everyone. Today we're gonna start the key principles of cognitive behavior therapy. And we're gonna learn another things as alternate CBT. Next, a step-by-step approach to overcome anxiety. Okay, let's start. The principles of cognitive behavior therapy. We will focus on CBT key principles, such as why a human brain operates in certain ways, how CBT techniques affect the human cognition, and how you can restructure your cognition. Today, we contain the detailed look at the cognitive behavior therapy key factors. That's important. CBT's aim is to teach individuals how to recognize their distorted idea through a process of evaluating negative or anxiety including thought. Homework is a considerable part of the CBT. Whether you are doing the therapy with the help of a therapist or on your own, it is vital that you use the techniques and tools common to this process of therapy. If you don't make a daily use of these methods, you won't be able to improve. So, if you don't exercise, you will never learn to run a marathon. And if you don't complete your homework therapy, you won't able to gain a healthy cognition. So homework is important. Okay? We learn better, understand the therapy process, enhancing your success. Okay, it's a belief that human brain abnormality is a result of cognitive distortion about us, others, the future, or the world as a whole. These cognitive distortions are probably due to irrational thinking and the cognitive triad. The negative thought contains pessimistic worldview, negative future views, and negative self-perceptions. The way we interact with the world is through our world mentality. This means that our emotion and behavior can become distorted if we have an inaccurate representation or if our reasoning is inefficient. Dr. Albert Ellis described many forms of simple, unrealistic beliefs, like including the belief that past history significantly affects the current, the exception that an individual should be good at all, the idea that people have no power over their own happiness, the belief then you need a strong person to demand on. The expectation that events are tragic when they don't go your way. The idea that new challenges are completely fixed and it's devastating if you don't consider it. Let's look at the technique. You remember A, B, C. A, activating event or objective situation. B, beliefs. C is consequence. A is individual reports analytical condition in the column A. A column, B belief column, C consequence column. Activating event, beliefs, consequences. On individual reports on analytical condition. This in the column A. A person is in column B. Write down whatever negative ideas or thoughts happen to them. C. Consequences. A person in column C of the third column details what dysfunctional behavior or negative feelings A and B have resulted in. Okay. Let's look at the anomalies found for the 15, okay? First, filtering, okay? Filtering, black and white thinking, overgeneralization, conclusion jumping, catastrophizing, personalization, control fallacies, fairness forces, the blame game, should have, emotional reasoning, change policy, measurably, always right, heaven's reward forces. That's 15. Anomalies. First, filtering. You know the filtering. With a filtering person will ignore all the good and positive circumstances in his or her life to focus on the negative instead. This is depression trap that causes a person to dwell in something negative while missing the amount of good that surrounds him. Second, black and white thinking. There is no room for nuance in black and white thinking. A human see everything in either black or white without any shade of gray. This means that if you are not performing perfectly in every area, then you will see yourself as a complete failure rather than recognizing that you are a complex person who might be unqualified in some areas while excelling in others. Overgeneralization. They use a single instance or a single piece of evidence when a person overgeneralized and use it to reach a broad conclusion. For example, a person can fail to attend the college of the choosing, and instead of brushing the problem off as a single bad experience and trying again at another college, they determine that they are not ready for college and will never be admitted. Conclusion jumping. This distortion is similar to overgeneralization. A person has a distortion with a conclusion jumping, which leads to faulty reasoning in how they draw conclusions. However, unlike overgeneralization, which is the result of a single instant, a person will jump to the conclusion with a conclusion jumping, assuming something without any evidence to support it. A person may be convinced, for instance, that their co-workers hate them, even without any real evidence. Catastrophizing. A person believes with a catastrophic event that the worst will happen based on an instant that is nowhere near as extreme or catastrophic as it has turned out. For example, somebody might make a small mistake for their job on some paperwork and so believe that their boss will go into a fury and fire them. Similarly, the individuals may diminish something good, such as his or her accomplishment or attractive qualities. That personalization. With the distortion, a person comes to believe that everything they do affects people and events externally, no matter how unlikely or irrational it may be. The person may feel they are cause of all the bad things that are happening around them. They can assume that because they were a few minutes late to meeting, the whole thing went badly, and that it would have gone better if they were just on time or not there to start with. Control fallacies. Control fallacies. Some people might focus to extreme on fairness, creating distortion. We all know life is not always fair. It's a frequently sad reality. Because of this, if a person goes through life in search of fairness, they will experience disappointment and become resentful. This is because life, irrespective of how fair it appears, will sometimes go as we want and other times it will not. Blame game. There are many ways in which we could delegate blame or clarify the result of something doesn't go our way. One way people do that is to blame those around them when something goes wrong. If we feel angry or sad, for example, we could blame others for making us feel this way. Yeah, this is another cognitive distortion, as it is only we who are reasonable for our emotions and actions that no one else is responsible for. Should have. Should have applied to how we think we would act and others too. We get upset when people violate our rules for how we thought they will act. When we violate our rules, we feel guilt. We might have a rule, for instance, that people should greet those they know when they see each other. You may feel angry and brushed off if a person doesn't greet you when he sees you. By the same way, if you have a guideline, then you should have saved money. You may feel guilty if you buy a coffee yourself, even if it's just a small amount. Another thing is emotional reasoning. A person believes with emotional reasoning that if they think a certain way, then it must be true. For example, at the moment they may feel hideous, boring, awkward, because they think they are truly ugly, boring, and awkward. Simply put, they think it's automatically true, whether they notice it. Furthermore, if we have a rational intellect, we should be able to recognize that our feelings do not always reflect what a situation's objective truth is. Change follows. We believe other people can comply with the policy as we see fit. They also attaches to the belief that our happiness depends on others, and that if these people are unable or unwilling to change, then they prevent us from attaining happiness. For two reasons: that distortion is harmful. Secondly, because It makes us believe we are not responsible for our own success, that it is in other people's control. Second, because it leads us to try and take control of other people's lives. Mislabeling. Mislabeling resembles overgeneralization, but it takes to an extreme. We take one or two instances with mislabeling and generalize them into a global judgment. If we fail at a single task, we might assume we are total failure, not just in that area, but in all areas. On the other hand, if somebody rude to us, we might think they are rude as a whole person. Mislabeling often uses loaded language, such as saying that someone failed their baby to use a formula or disposable diapers instead of the alternative. Okay? Always right. Okay. Everybody wishes to be right. But with this illusion, person believes he must always be right, and it is completely unacceptable to be incorrect. A person with this delusion might think their being right is of greater importance than other people's feelings. It stops them from knowing when they have had a mistake. Last things happens weird fallacy. The final illusion includes a person hoping to be praised for self-denial or sacrifice. We can call it karma, or by another name, believing that for their good deeds, this will always reward them. This can lead to bitterness when a person receives no reward. Okay. Thought journaling. To manage these dysfunctional thoughts and beliefs, a person should keep the record of dysfunctional thinking. First, write on the first column to the far left of the page. This will have the time and date of emergency of abnormal behavior. The next column is where you write down a situation that came up when you experienced the dysfunctional thinking. Here you need to go into as much detail as you can. In the third column, you will write down automatic dysfunctional thoughts you've had from a scale of 0% to 100%, along with how much you believe this thought. You will you will describe the emotions elicited by the dysfunctional thought in the fourth column, along with the scale, how strongly you experience the different emotions from 0% to 100%. In the fifth column, in the fifth column, you will try to identify the type of distortion to which your thinking belongs. To identify yours, you will need to use the list of 15 distortions. We learned that. Is it fallacy to change? A game of blame? Filter? Go through the list and write down where your distortion most suit. This is important since it will help you detect patterns and find out which distortion you are most likely to experience. You will replace the bias and in the next to the last section with a more rational and safer alternate feeling. You will detail the outcome of exercise in the final column. Were you able to confront your dysfunctional thoughts by filling out this journal? Were you in a position to create more rational thinking? Has your negative feelings or thoughts been diminished? Fact-checking. Another exercise you could use it, that of checking facts. Since we have a habit of believing that our thoughts are true, this exercise helps us to determine whether or not our fears are factually backed up. You could have failed a test. That's one fact. That doesn't say, however, that it's a fact. You are dumb. These are non-factual views, not evidence you can take to heart. Because of our dysfunctional thoughts, however, it is hard to truly believe these opinions are not fact. Whenever you struggle with dysfunctional thoughts or intense emotions, try to complete the checklist of a fact. So simply write 3 columns to build a checklist of facts. You will write the statement in the first column, which we will list in a moment. The second column is to add a check mark excuse me, or all the real statement. The final column is for applying a check mark to any false statement. Once you fill out this list, you simply check either the right or the incorrect column when you read the list down. Now, let's get the statement you will add to first column. Like that. I am bad person. That's first column. I am selfish. Nobody likes me. I am single. I'm overweight. I will be single forever. I dislike my job. I'm not good at my job. You write down the first column. Each of these statements will receive a correct answer, true or false. The aim of this question is to help your brain distinguish truth from fiction and to test it, because we are all dealing with cognitive distortions that make us believe false ideas. It allows us to be more able to discern the difference between what is real and what is not. So you do question. You make question, cognitive question. Cognitive questioning. You use the following cognitive questioning. Is this truly a black and white situation, or are there shades of gray? You want to analyze if you use all or nothing mentality, or not all or nothing mentality, or not, and if it makes the situation sound overly complicated or easy. Am I making assumptions of misinterpreting evidence? Okay. Am I making assumptions or misinterpreting evidence? You can ask. Making assumptions or misinterpreting facts is simple. Even if we don't know we're doing so, take some time to find out if this is what you do. Might other people interpret the situation differently? How might they interpret it? Think of someone close to you, like a member of your family, a friend, or coworker. How could they be interpreting the same situation? Am I looking at all the evidence, or only the evidence that supports what I already believe? We might think we are objective, but people often just want to consider evidence that supports what they already believe. Be sure you don't ignore evidence to the contrary. Are these thoughts, another question, are these thoughts on overinflation of the truth? We sometimes have negative thoughts, not on the whole truth, but partially true, that we have inflated past its logical boundaries. Are these thoughts habitual? Cognitive distortions become a matter of habit, meaning that we are sometimes focused on thinking, not because the facts really support it, but only because it's a habit. Another question. How did this thought first occur? How did this thought first occur? Did someone else pass this thought on? Is this person truly trustworthy? We only have ideas occasionally because somebody passed them on to us. For starters, after somebody criticizes us, we may start thinking bad about our bodies. Another, we're gonna learn that a step-by-step approach to overcome anxiety and depression. First, week 1. I told you homework is important in CBT. Only if you put in the work, you will experience the benefits, but it will be well worth it. Week 1. Homework. There are meaning in the term cognitive behavior therapy. The word cognitive refers to our thoughts and refers to our actions as behavior. This is important to understand because our thoughts and actions affect our feelings, making our mental health either worse or better. Look at these 2 examples. You are waking up feeling depressed or anxious, so you are thinking, I am feeling so bad today. I'm going to skip my session today and just do it tomorrow. When you are depressed or anxious, you understand the therapist's value, thinking, yeah, I don't feel like doing my treatment, but it will actually make me feel better. I will do it. Okay? One more time. It's very, very important. Okay? You will break the cycle of depression, anxiety by taking the second option and choose to improve your mental health. It is important to set goals at the beginning of the therapy to help you decide where you want to go, since you can't get the location if you don't know your destination first. Customize these goals to match the particular situation, as it will have its own goal. For example, one person may have the goal of reducing suicidal ideation, while another may want to reduce their social anxiety by 50%. Use these milestones as guidance and then tailor them to suit your needs. Reduce depression, anxiety feelings by 50%. Reduce the amount of time I'm depressed, anxious by 50%. Learn how to prevent depression, anxiety, outbreak. Feel more in control of my life. Depression symptom, you remember, yeah? Depression symptoms, feeling of hopelessness and helplessness, lack of interest in daily activities, hobbies, or favorite pastimes, change in sleep, appetite, weight, loss of energy, anger, irritability, or frustration, self-loathing, concentration difficulties, reckless behavior, unexplained pains and aches, memory loss, self-harm or thoughts of self-harm, thoughts of death, suicide thoughts, or suitable attempts, feelings of guilt, worthlessness, or self-blame, slowed by movement, thinking, or speaking. Anxiety symptoms, feeling of restlessness, nervousness, and tenseness, sense of impending doom, danger, or panic. Elevate heart rate, elevate heart rate, excess sweating, rapid breathing, trembling. Difficulty sleeping, feeling of weakness and tiredness, chest pains, sense of choking, dizziness, feeling as if you were detached from the world, chills or hot flashes, irrational fears of dying, muscle tension, nightmares or flashbacks, feelings of being out of control. After resting, I told you the symptoms list of depression, of anxiety. You want to further analyze how those symptoms affect you in your everyday life. When you are anxious or depressed, what thoughts go through your mind? What do you do when you are in anxiety or depression? How do you communicate in nervous or distressed way with people? What kind of anxious or depression do you think is the cause? First week, this week's homework is to make daily use of the following mood chart. Remember, you must never skip your homework. You must complete this skill daily. Okay, 1. This is potentially the worst mood. 10. The best possible mood. 5. Average mood. Okay, so you write down every day your mood. 1 to 10. What is your today's mood? Week 2. I am never going to get better. You might say, if I do CBT, I am at least trying to get better. So you have to look at that and check. Flexible and inflexible thinking. That's examples. Inflexible thinking. I'm always cold. Flexible. I'm sometimes afraid in some situations. Inflexible. I hate myself. Flexible. I can grow to love myself. Inflexible. Sometimes terrible will happen. Flexible. I don't know what the future holds, but I can handle it. I can handle it. Week 3. Week 3 homework. This week you want to actively focus on boosting your positive thought. Okay? Let's look at the ABC method. You can control your thoughts with this method. Turn negative thought patterns into something more positive or neutral. Let's look at the ABCD method. A represents or what happened, the activating event. B is for your belief or your thought. C is consequence of thought. For example, how it affects your mood. D is the manner in which you disputed a thought. Lesson is negativity and hold on to you. Let's look at the example. You feel depressed. A. This is a fact. I am overweight. B. Thoughts I am getting on A are, I can't be happy if I'm overweight. I'm unattractive. No one will love me if I am overweight. C. Depression is the product of feeling this way. D. I would refute such thoughts with, I should learn to accept myself and be comfortable. Even if I'm overweight, I'm not unattractive. That's just superficial standards of beauty placed on people by food companies to make more profit. I can be curvy and pretty. Some people love me, and people who really love me won't care about my weight. Week 4 homework. Start the first week by analyzing the homework work of your previous week. Thought journal. You remember mood scale and ABCD method, and noticing any improvement you made in any negative peoples you needed to watch out for. You can better avoid it in the future if you're aware of your pitfalls and where you often get stuck in negativity. I should do everything perfectly. That's a common thought worsen a person's anxiety and depression. I should do everything perfectly. I want everyone to love me. Everyone should approve of me. Everything will be ruined if I don't do this perfectly. I need to worry about bad things that might happen so I can prevent them. I can never be happy if someone does not love me. I'm unable to change who I am. I was raised this way. I should be in control of everything. People should do what I say. I have to be sad when people I love are having a hard time. Okay, like that. Okay, week 5. Consider the activities you enjoy, and one of the following is either inspiring, relaxing, mindful, meaningful, pleasant, rewarding. Okay, so daily activity such as read a book, play a video game, fold origami, play with your pet, paint or draw, go shopping, window shop. That's a list. Yeah, look and read that. We speak out loudly. Okay? That's a daily activity. Week 6. Along with your previous techniques, ABCD method, journal of thoughts, and scale of mood, you begin to keep an account of enjoyable activities you do every day. Seek to do at least one fun thing every day. But it's better if you don't do a few things every day. Okay? 6. Week 7. Homework. Week 7 homework. It's crucial that they be transparent parents when setting goals, let's dig at some solution that are straightforward and vague, so you can get a better understanding. So practice weekly. Week 7, unclear and too clear. 자, okay. Unclear. A. Unclear. Be good musician. It's unclear. B. Clear. Practicing weekly. Practice 2 hours or 3 hours. Insert the number of hours. Practice hours practicing weekly. That's clear. Unclear. Be a happy person. Clear. Spend time doing something I enjoy. Unclear. Be a good parent. Clear. Spend time doing something activities with my child. Unclear. Be less depressed. Clear. Increase pleasant activities to reduce depression. Week 8, homework. You can change it to the objective word by completing activities, making social contracts. You can make an alternation to the subjective word by increasing helpful and healthy thinking, diminishing harmful and negative thinking. Okay? So week 9, homework, stay in touch. Stay in touch. It's important. It is important to work when you are hoping to improve your relationship or maintain healthy relationship. Stay in touch. It doesn't have to be constant. But if you haven't heard from someone in a while, at least try sending a text message or calling them over the phone. Okay? Be the one to go out and recommended meeting up for events or speaking. Do not allow negative feelings to get in the way, such as they will say no, they're just saying yes to be kind. They don't really like me. They won't want to go out with me again. Learn how to be more assertive about your feelings and needs. Learn to set limits with others. Learn how to distance yourself from the harmful and negative relations. Week 10, homework. Along with the continuing to complete the thought journal, make a list of all people in your social network, as well as a mood scale and ABCD method. Find your association with each of them in turn after you write down the name of each person, deciding whether it is positive or negative link. If your relationship is overall positive, you can mark the person's name with a plus. But if the person's relation is more often negative, mark their name with a minus. Okay. You need to focus on certain aspect of each of these three areas of your life: your feelings, your thoughts, your behavior, your expectations. Think about your expectations. It's important to know what others might expect in return from you, what you expect from them. You don't want excessively high expectation, otherwise no one, you or they, can measure up. On the other hand, you don't want excessively low expectations, or else you don't give people the opportunity to prove themselves. Behavior. Okay. Behavior is important because through our conduct we communicate much more than we believe. Okay? 93% of communication is non-verbal. We learned that, yeah? There's a statistic combined to other situations which found that 55% of communication is through the body language and 38% through the voice tone. And keep in mind the following when dealing with others. Do you make eye contact? Do you smile occasionally? Do you look tired and worn out? Are you slumped over? Is your clothing and grooming appropriate for the situation? Is your speech too slow, too quick, too loud, or too soft? Do you show interest in what other people are saying? Do you criticize or ignore others? Do you complain frequently? Okay. Imagine a scene as if we were memory or a movie of you interacting with another person. So trying imagine this mental exercise step by step, okay, in order to practice being assertive, like that, okay. Last week 11 homework. Do you feel intolerant of others? To any other thoughts? And do you feel intolerant of others? Have you any trouble trusting others? Do you feel other people are expecting too much of you? Are you worried about others? Your behavior around others. How do you help people feel comfortable around you? How do you show up to others? Do you do something assertive when you communicate with others? Remember, you are free and comfortable to share both positive and negative sentiments and thoughts with others when you are assertive. You are feeling before being around others. You know what made you feel good or bad either. Okay? Okay, so continuing using your daily thinking journal, mood scale, and ABCD method, consider all the interactions that you have with the individual this week using plus or minus after writing a person name to indicate the specific interactions with each individual as either positive or negative experience. Okay, practicing change in your behavior, thoughts, or feeling while you are around others. Okay, talk about your social network. If you have a hard time trusting someone, you feel comfortable telling them why or not. Okay, they can provide a sense of stability and companionship. They can reflect the image you feel most important about yourself. They can help build trust, image, and self-esteem. Okay? Are you consider the is helpful? Are you consider the questions? Are your preferences very similar? Can you state your thoughts and feelings clearly to each other? Do you want the same relationship things? Remember, relationship aren't static object. Okay? Okay. Okay, we're done. Next, we learn the alternative CBT approach and the secret, the step for a positive change. Okay, thank you. Bye bye. See you next.